Hey everybody, welcome back to another Tanner Miller video. So in this video we're going to be fixing up this Nokia Lumia 640. It has a badly smashed display as well as a back panel that has chunks of it missing and just a lot of scratching. So we're going to be putting on a good screen and a good back plate. Surprisingly, despite the really bad damage, this phone does work completely fine. I've updated it to Windows 10 Mobile, and I'm going to soon make a video of trying to use it in 2021. So if you'd like to see that, stay tuned. Anyways, let's get right into the repair. So to start off, I of course turn the phone off, and then I can remove the back plate once it's fully turned off, and the battery. This had a user serviceable back plate and battery, which is very nice, and I'm also removing the micro SD card that I've inserted in here. And this is when I noticed that unfortunately this phone uses Torx screws. Like, it's a pretty repairable phone, so it really stinks that it has to use a proprietary screw. Thankfully you can find these screwdrivers for really cheap, but it is a bummer because, you know, if they would have just used Phillips heads, you could have probably serviced your phone without having to go out and buy some special screwdriver, because most people have Phillips head already around the house. So however, thankfully all of these screws are the same size except for these two on the side of the phone. Those two are both the same size as each other, but they are shorter than the rest of them. But it is a lot better than an iPhone or whatever. There's much less screws to keep track of and worry about putting in the wrong spot, so that's definitely good. This part usually doesn't take very long, but I was having a hard time figuring out where the clamps were. And also, like, on the side, where the screws were on the side, I had to stick my fingernail in between those two sections just to kind of split it apart. And then once I got the top free, something was still not loose, so I realized that there is a screw underneath a sticker, so I had to remove that. That's why it's always a good idea to look at repair guides so you don't miss a screw and damage your phone. But anyways, once that was free, the phone just kind of opened like a book, and I could disconnect the speaker assembly and the LCD assembly. With that out of the way, I could now open my display assembly. This display assembly is a used one, so it's original and it already has the speaker assembly attached to it. It's just a used one that somebody was selling on eBay for a good price, so I bought it. It does need some cleaning, which we'll do later, but it should work hopefully, so we're just going to connect that up. So once again, more weirdness just with the way this phone closes. Like, I was totally expecting to have like some snapping noises, like from it snapping into place, but I didn't hear any. But it turns out that I guess that's just how this phone is, because once I screwed in the screws, everything just kind of, you know, went into place, so no issues there, but I did find that a bit odd. So now with everything screwed in, I just took a microfiber cloth with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it, just to clean it up a bit because it was a bit dirty. So yeah. We're almost ready. I'm going to turn my attention to the front speaker. Yeah, this was pretty gross. I couldn't really get the dirt out, so I had to use a metal tool to kind of loosen it up, which might not be the best tool, but it's something that I found works for me. Definitely, if you do this yourself, you probably don't want to use a metal tool, and if you do, be very, very careful because you can damage it. But yeah, and then I'm just using a Q-tip with isopropyl alcohol to clean it up. And I'm also cleaning up the sides while I'm at it. I then went back to the front speaker with a toothbrush with isopropyl alcohol on it, as well as another brush and the Q-tip again, just to get anything that I missed before. And then I used some compressed air very gently, just to blow out any dust that was still there. So now I'm moving to the microphone with a metal tool to clean out the dirt. Using a metal tool or compressed air is probably not the best idea on a microphone because they can be damaged very easily. But luckily nothing happened in this case, it was just fine. And then there was some dirt in between the screen bezel and the screen, so I was using some tools just to kind of clean that up the best I could. I then used a tool and compressed air in the charge port to clean it out, but it surprisingly wasn't very dirty. So now I'm just trying to clean the screen, but my cloth is kind of dirty and it's leaving streak marks, so I'll clean it later. Now we just have to get the new backplate out. So as you can see, this is the new backplate I got. It was about $5, and there is a few differences in it. Like the text is very slightly different, but it's not too bad. But the most noticeable difference is that the replacement housing is actually not a glossy finish, I realized. It has this like matte finish, which, I mean, it looks fine, but it's definitely a lot different. I like the shiny one better. And I was also noticing that there's this piece on the old housing that isn't on the new one, so I'll have to transfer that over later, but no big deal. So what I am doing here, or what I'm about to do right here, is use some heat to remove that sticker that's on the old housing. You shouldn't really use heat on a plastic housing as it can warp it and make it not fit, but this housing is obviously in bad condition, and heating it up loosens the adhesive, which leaves a better chance of me getting that sticker off in one piece. So since we care about the sticker and not the housing, that's why I'm using heat. But yeah, just so you know, you shouldn't really use heat on a plastic housing. Not a good idea, of course, unless if it's bad like this one. Just about to put the back on, and then I realized I forgot the screws on the side, so I quickly put those in, and then we are just about done. I then got a actually clean cloth to clean the screen with. It is important to not use dirty cloths to clean the screens like I was doing earlier, because it does leave streaks, but it could also scratch it, so just be careful. So now that it's booted, I'm just going to test the screen and the front camera, because if those two things work, I assume everything else will. Since I'll be using this phone, I guess I'll see if anything else doesn't work, but it seems like everything's functioning, so I'm going to leave it at that. Also notice there is a protective film over the buttons on this housing, so I just have to remove those real quick, and then we're done. So here it is. We turned this once very damaged Windows phone, damaged to the point where you probably wouldn't want to use it because it's very hard to see through the cracks, to a now perfect condition phone. I mean, there's a few light scratches because the screen was used, but overall it looks great. I spent $32 on this in total, which is more than a used $640, but it was a fun project, so I don't mind having spent a little bit more. And I also like fixing broken things just to keep them out of the landfills, so I do feel good about this too. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.